January 11th, 2012 at 3:01 a.m. Central Standard Time. I want to talk to you about the earthquake that happened in Sumatra yesterday. It was a 7.3. It happened at 1837 UTC and was 18.1 miles below the surface. Below the surface of what? I don't know, because it happened in the water, but I'm at the NexSat and I want to show you this image right here. You can see this is 2012 0110. This was at 1832, which was 5 minutes before the earthquakes occurred. And here we have Sri Lanka, and here we have Sumatra right here. And the earthquake was right in this area right here. What I want to bring to your attention is these two dark circles here. I find them to be highly unusual. That they would be so well defined and right near each other, as well as right near where the earthquake occurred. This image right now is 1 hour later, so you can see that they're still kind of there, but they've dispersed and they're almost triangular in shape more now. And I'm not sure that this is anything. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm going to show you the loop. I've got a loop going, and I'll tell you when. Because this is hard to drive, and it's going to be right in here. And watch for the two circles. Now, hopefully you got that. Let's go up here. I got it zoomed way out. Not all the way out. Here we go. And this loop was running from, right here's the date. Let me just zoom in further since we're zooming. This is January 9th at 2:32 UTC, and it goes through, the loop goes through January 11th at 5:32 UTC. So that loop I just played for you was that whole sequence. And I can't remember exactly which one. I think we can get it here. The buttons don't seem to be working. We're looking for 1832 right there. And we'll go down, down, down. Sri Lanka. Sumatra here. And here's those circles. Here's one. And then here's two. And I kind of zoom out a little bit. And we're going to hop over to Google Earth. And I've got the location exactly identified, and it's right here. I put in the coordinates. Here's Sri Lanka, and here's Sumatra over here. And you just look in this quadrant here that's at the tip of the island here. And so it's this quadrant, and it's almost center here, and just a little to the right of the center there. So going back to the NexSat, here's the square we're looking at. So center is about here, and the other center's here. So right here is where the earthquake occurred. And I wanted to go back to Google Earth and show you some interesting things I found. Well, first I got to show you the list of the latest earthquakes. Right here, this red one is the 7.3, and it happened at 1837. But right before that, at 1807, so 30 minutes prior to that, we had a 5.0 near the coast of Ecuador. It's at latitude minus 0.760, longitude minus 80.265, and it's 27.9 miles deep. And what I did is I went and took these coordinates for Sumatra, and I'm just always curious about what happens on the other side. So let me show you. So I go up in here, and I put the coordinates in. And this is the one from Sumatra, and then I just reversed them. I made this a negative and this a negative, so it's going to do the other side of the flip side of the world, basically, is where it's going to go. and I already went and found it, so I called it the opposite of the 7.3 earthquake. And let me get this grid out of here. It's under view and grid. You can turn that on and off. So zooming out, guess where I landed? Right by Ecuador, which that is where the 5.0 earthquake was. I should plug in my mouse here. Let me do that a second. It makes driving so much easier. And make a spot for it. Okay. So Ecuador is right here, and this is where the 5.0 occurred. So it's, you know, looking at the world, that's not very far away. Actually, let's see how many. There's a little ruler thing, and you can click it and go over here. It's 900 miles, but still, it's pretty close to be 30 minutes apart and on the total other side of the world. And then another thing is, I was looking at the, let's go look at them to the, this is called the live seismic server, live internet seismic server, and it's just got little seismograms of all the different, a lot of different places around the world. It seems to change. You can't always count on the same ones being on here. And then also some of them go down, as you can see here. This one's been down forever, the Aleutian Islands, because we've got a volcano up there that's acting up. I assume that's why. And that's when I really would like to see it the most. But I came across this very strange name, so I put it in and did a search on Google Earth, and it turned out to be these same islands right here. I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And they're called, I went ahead and pulled the graph up, the Galapagos Islands. And so I thought that was an interesting thing, that we've got this 5.0 going on at 1807. And I think that's what this must be here, although, well, 1807 it would be right here. We've got this little squiggle here. I don't know if you can even see that. I'll zoom in a little more here. Right here, here's the 18 line, 18 UTC, and then there's a 10-minute line going down, so 07 would be over here, but here's where it must have registered. So it was just a little quick blurb on the radar. And then zooming back out using my control minus, you can see that the really big earthquake on the whole other side of the Earth registering at 50, see, this is 60 minutes, so 55, about 56 minutes past 1800. So that was 19 minutes for that to get all the way around the world. And it took, well, about 6 minutes to get however many miles I said that was. Anyway, these lines are really odd on this. I mean, I know it was a big earthquake, but it, like, here's the 1800 line, and then 1900 starts, and then it like we lose it at about the, oh, I don't know, this is just guessing, about the 13-minute mark, 1913 UTC. And it looks like the whole 20-minute line is gone also. I just can't really see it in there. There's nothing, see the gap here? And I don't think it went on that long. I mean, if you look at all the total out of control, it looks like 20 minutes. Well, even that would be a long time for an earthquake to be registering. I don't know. But then I went to the, I'm just kind of wandering here. University of Memphis Helicorders, and it's called CERI, Center for Earthquake Research and Information, and they just seem to be having problems registering the big earthquakes. And again, that's the case here. If we go to, I think the one I was just looking at, here we go, is Kewanee, Missouri, and it's one of the more active ones. And there's some strange activity that was going on. Actually, before that, this is starts at 1815 UTC, this black line here. So the earthquake is about, let's see, 1830, 45, between this red and this blue line. And it only took 20 minutes to make it around the world, and this is about around the world too. So these are 15-minute increments. We should see something registering right here about this green line, and there's really not. This is somewhat atypical, all this chattering going on. These bigger ones have been showing up. But then we go down further and we get gaps in the information. And that's at, like, let's see, 2115, 2315, 2330. So about 2340 they stopped registering. And I went back to the latest earthquakes. And let's see, make sure we're in the right day. So 2340, well, there was one in New Mexico at 2327. And it just so happens that they have a New Mexico diagram. I think it's this one here. Yes. And so we're looking at 1856. The big one started registering again. Well, I can't really tell if that 20-minute line is missing or not. It seems to be. But then going back to it's hard switching back and forth and back and forth. 2330, 2340. And looking at the list, let's see. 2327, it was 4.7 kilometers deep. It was a 2.6 magnitude, so it wasn't that big. So 2327, that's what we're looking for, 2327. So it's down in here. But I'm not seeing anything at 2327 because this is New Mexico. And granted, it wasn't very large, and we have something else going on, but you should at least get something like this, you would think. Very odd, very odd. And then going back to this one at Kewanee, we have another gap that shows up about 325 on the next day, so that would be the 11th. And then it actually starts picking up right here again, but 325 on the 11th. And you go back here, you go to the 11th, and then you got one at 329 here at Vanuatu. That was a 4.9, but that's way far away, and a 4.9 we shouldn't be. Well, even at that, they shouldn't be taking the data out if it was registering. So this is missing from 315 to 515, well, all the way down to about 615, and go back here and you've got one at 329, this is the Vanuatu, Northern California at 409, Southern Alaska at 557. But those shouldn't be showing up here, so I don't know why they've got gaps. And then, to get off subject, but it's still kind of the same subject, there was I did a video on a flash that showed up in Northern California at Beale Air Force Base, and then come to find out that, and I can't remember how I put this together, but there was a earthquake in Northern California at 409, and the flash I think was like at 306. So an hour later after that flash, there was an earthquake, and I did measure it out on Google Earth. Let's see if I can go there. Odd things happening today, just all over the place. And this got turned off again somehow. Here's the Beale Air Force Base where all that flashing's going on. I'll put a link to that video. And then here's where the earthquake was. And thanks to WaronError, I used her trick. I'll give you a link to that video too. It shows you how to find radars. But from here to here, well, let's measure how far it is. Oh, there it goes. It's like 150 miles. So an hour later, after this started, we had an earthquake over here. And it continued flashing for quite a while. In fact, I think I have a loop. I'll play it so we can see. But I found, by using WaronError's trick, that there's another Doppler radar right by where the earthquake was. So we're just north of Petrolia and south of Eureka. Eureka's here. And I know there's another Doppler up in here somewhere, and I'll show you on that loop I play that this little part that juts out here, that it looks like it's kind of in the blue. Oh dear. Let's go look. I think this is it here. Yeah, there we go. So this is that flashing going on. And this loop goes 841. Starts at about 5 UTC and ends at about 841 UTC. I'm going to slow it down just a bit. So the earthquake occurred up in here, and you can see that this is going around, or it usually does go around a Doppler. And actually there's a little green light that shows up, and on Wonder Map, which is the trick in finding the Doppler, it was just a little green map too. It wasn't like a big flash, but you can see it right there. Well, let's find out when that little flash is. I'll click through here. This is going to be a little long again. Yeah, it takes a while to get through all this stuff. I got all these pieces. I feel like my puzzle pieces are all over the table. Right there's a little green dot, and that was at 6:11 UTC. So, and we got the flash still going on here. And let's see how long it goes on when it goes off. Oh, I should have turned my things off. Maybe it'll go off. There we go. Then I can get to the buttons better. I don't know if you got this problem, but sometimes I get up here and these other menus pop up, and you just got to pull this so that the buttons are touching the top, and that way they can't pull down. So going through the flash at 6:15, well, that's right after the green dot appears. Well, that's odd too. Okay. So at 6:11 we get the little dot showing up here by where the earthquake was, and the earthquake was at 4:09, I think, or 4:07. And then at 6:15 the flash is on, and then it changes to solid green at 6:18 and stays that way for quite a while. Well, it's still that way. So there you have it. I hope all that made sense, and maybe the Lord will may have it make sense if it doesn't. God bless you, and have a good day tomorrow. Good night.